Welcome to our vocabulary facilitation workshop for parents of children with hearing loss. We are pleased to have such a great turnout today. You are here because you either have a child with hearing loss or you work with children with hearing loss. Our workshop is designed to provide you with information on strategies and techniques for teaching vocabulary to hearing impaired children. Whether you use the oral approach or sign language, we are confident that you will leave the workshop feeling knowledgeable in enhancing vocabulary. Now I will introduce today's speakers. My name is Melanie Schuler.
Hi, I'm Christine Scott.
I'm Mikkel Rickles.
And I'm Maria Damari, and we are all graduate students at the University of Central Florida.
I will now provide you with a brief advanced organizer, including today's topics. We will begin by providing an overview of previous research regarding vocabulary facilitation of children with hearing impairment. We will then explain strategies and techniques for teaching vocabulary for an oral language approach. We will then show you a video on how an everyday situation can be approached with vocabulary enhancement in mind. You will be provided with a handout to execute this for the Florida Hands and Voices ASL Interpreted Performance on June 29th. The first article we will discuss is titled, A Description of Relevant Research Findings Supporting the Need for the Proposed Project Area by Coppens, Tellings, Verhoeven, and Schroeder. In this article, the authors describe the need that hard of hearing children have for vocabulary facilitation and help with reading comprehension. It states that children, in general, need vocabulary to help them with reading comprehension. It also states that children who are hearing impaired are more likely to have a less deep lexical knowledge than their hearing peers, which impacts their reading abilities. The results of this study showed that children who are hearing impaired not only have smaller vocabularies, but also are less exposed to words than their hearing peers.
The next article is titled Vocabulary Development in Children with Hearing Loss, the Role of Child, Family, and Educational Variables, by Coppens, Tellings, Schroeder, and Verhoeven. The study revealed that hearing impaired children receive poorer scores on vocabulary tasks than their hearing peers. There is a strong family variable for the development of vocabulary in children who are hard of hearing, particularly in the language used at home. Because of this, our workshop aims to address supplemental vocabulary enrichment for parents to use with their children who are deaf or hard of hearing.
The last article is titled Promoting Vocabulary Learning in Young Children Who Are Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Translating Research into Practice by Williams. The article states that the success that children have with reading is strongly associated with one's vocabulary knowledge. This vocabulary knowledge is a good predictor of the reading proficiency that children will have as they progress through elementary school. Children who are deaf and hard of hearing often have small vocabularies. This makes them struggle significantly when trying to learn to read. Williams in 2012 argued that evidence-based vocabulary interventions are necessary for children who are deaf and hard of hearing. Due to these findings, we felt the Orlando area lacked a workshop dedicated to this area of language, and therefore we will provide you with the strategies. Steps 1 and 2 go hand in hand. Step 1, the caregiver models the vocabulary word, and in step 2, the child repeats the word.
After Mikkel introduces each step, we will be demonstrating what each step should look like. I will be playing the caregiver, and Melanie will be the child. The word list that you have in front of you are the words that will be in this Saturday's performance and may or may not be new to your child. We will be showing you an example of what a teaching moment should look like to prepare your child for the play. Let's get started. Melanie, today we are going to learn the word king. Can you say king?
King.
Good.
Step 3, activate prior knowledge. In this step, the caregivers ask the child if they have ever heard the word or know anything about it.
Melanie, have you heard that word before?
I think I've heard it when we read our fairy tale books, right?
I think so.
Step 4. Whether or not the child has any prior knowledge, show them a picture of the word.
Yes, you do hear it in fairy tale books. Like this book, Sleeping Beauty. Let me show you a picture. Here is the king.
Step 5. Caregivers explain the word in terms that the child will understand.
Now we're going to learn more about kings. Let's talk about what the king looks like and what he does. What is this that the king's wearing?
A hat.
That is a hat. It's called a crown. And it's specially made so that people know that he's the king because he's the only one that wears it. He also is wearing a fancy robe. See that?
Oh, okay.
And the king has a wife, which is the queen. And together they live in a castle. And they rule over all of the kingdom. You see these in fairy tales a lot, like Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella, and a lot of the ones that you've heard of.
Oh.
In step 6, the child repeats the word meaning to the parent and asks any questions if they are confused.
Okay, Melanie, now that we talked a little bit about kings, can you tell me what you know now about them?
Well, kings wear big, funny hats that are called crowns,
That's right.
and they do that so that people know that they're the king, and they dress really pretty, and they marry the queen, and they rule their land.
Exactly. Good job. Do you have any questions?
Do we have kings where we are?
We don't have kings where we are, but in other countries they still have kings and queens.
Oh, cool.
In step 7, the caregiver reads a story about the word to enhance the child's understanding.
Okay, Melanie, now that you know so much about kings, we're going to read a story with a king in it. We're going to read Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
And later, next week, we're going to go see a play about Sleeping Beauty. That's why we're learning all of these new words so that we can know them for the play.
Okay.
It's important to bear in mind that deaf and hard of hearing children lack the ability to learn language incidentally. Therefore, they must learn language deliberately. It is important that the caregiver or SLP provide explicit or direct instruction in addition to devoting time to teach this fundamental aspect of reading to deaf and hard of hearing